can we talk a little bit more about that quieting the mind and rising to join with your inner being? Like, explain that process more, maybe in, I don't know if it should be a step process, but
well, this is the easiest way. Take a cork and hold it under the water. You got a picture of that? That's how most people are living. The cork wants to float, but you're not going to let it float right now. The cork will float. Its natural state is to float, but you're doing something unnatural to it. You're holding it under the water, just like you do something unnatural by blaming someone, by hating someone, by feeling inferior. These are unnatural emotions. They feel normal because so many people are doing them, but as far as your natural energy goes, it's unnatural. So when you let go of the cork, it bobs to the surface. That's as complicated as this subject is.
But let's talk about it from the point of view of like emotions or feeling. I feel like people are just, I am, and I feel like a lot of other people here.
Don't drag them into this.
Well, no, the people who either have a hard time meditating or don't do it because they think it's difficult or they don't have time to do it, even though it's probably the single most important tool in their arsenal.
In a way, that's why we're doing a stronger sales job on it, because we know you to be reasonable people. So let's say that you've decided to put a swimming pool in your backyard, and the contractor comes to you and he says, we can go about digging this hole in 2 ways. And he shows you a picture of a great big old digger machine, a backhoe, that with this, we can dig this hole in 2 days. And then he pulls a teaspoon out of his pocket and he says, we could use this too. It'll take a little longer. It's up to you. I'll follow your lead. You'd say, let me think about it and I'll get back to you. Or you'd say, well, a lot of people have a hard time with this decision. A lot of people, they'd rather go about it the impossible way rather than use the tool that will really get the job done. We are making fun of you. We're making fun of the human resistance to tapping into your power. Now, why would someone resist tapping into their own power? Well, maybe you don't know your power's there. Maybe you don't know your inner being exists. Maybe you don't know about the energy that creates worlds. And since we do know all of these things, it seems incredulous to us that anybody would not want to tap into their own power. And somebody says, it's hard. And we say, you've got to be kidding. It's hard to focus. It's hard to listen to the sound. Hear it? Is that hard? Is it hard to hear the air conditioner? So why wouldn't you be willing to focus on that for a minute? Well, it's boring and you think that you want to be more engaged. Well, what if by quieting your mind and being less engaged, you could tap into the energy that creates worlds and tap into your true power? Don't you think you'd be willing to listen to that for a minute? So we know if you've never done it and someone says do it and you say no, I've never done it, and someone says well, it's a good idea if you do it, and you say well, it's hard for me, I can't do it. If you've never done it, then it seems like an equal argument. Well, it's a good idea, don't want to. It's a good idea, don't want to. It's a good idea, don't really want to. It's a good idea, I know, but I think I'll pass on it for now. But if you, in a weak moment when your resistance was way down, you decided to focus on that, and you actually felt the relief of all the struggles and worries in your body falling away, and you actually felt the detachment of your physical beingness from all the resistant problems of the world, and you felt the vibration of your being rise. And then in that base of true freedom, an idea just softly came across your mind that lit you up and felt like a good idea. Not a life-changing, write a book and save the world idea. An idea of go get a milkshake, or the idea of get in your car and go over here. An idea of pick up the phone and call this person. For Esther, move that piece of furniture over there. Just something that just seems like a really good idea. And you follow through with that, and in the process of moving that piece of furniture over there, you meet one of the most delightful people you've ever met in your life, who is seeking everything that you have to know, and you end up having one of those most meaningful conversations of your lifetime, because coming out of meditation you had the thought about moving some furniture around. Then you catch on that your inner being is guiding you through the path of least resistance, but you've got to be willing to find the path. And when someone says, it's hard for me to meditate, what we hear them say is, I know there's a path out there, but I'm not looking for it right now. I've got a teaspoon in my pocket that's serving me just fine.
And it's a beautiful path that feels really, really good to get on, to be on. So it's like the argument for not doing it is a little insane, no?
The argument for not doing it comes from ignorance. It comes from not understanding that you are an extension of source energy, not understanding that your inner being is aware of you and focused upon everything you want. Ignorance about the law of attraction and the power of it. It's just lip service that people offer. Do you know what it really may be? It might be this. It is this. It's exactly this. It's this. It's this. People believe that they must struggle and suffer in order to have gain. And so, really, I just have to sit there and do nothing? That doesn't make any sense. I've been taught my whole life. You got to work the hardest, and you got to be the best, and you got to be seen in the best light. So much has been taught to so many who have not been under the influence of the love of their source. They've been under the influence of other humans who need them to do stuff because they're not under the influence of their source. Think about it. If you don't know about source energy, aren't you going to try to gather a bunch of humans together and convince them to do your bidding? You need to not be selfish, they will say to you. Don't do what feels best to you. You need to follow these rules that feel best to me. And it's surprising that you don't say, wait, that feels off to me. I don't get to be selfish, but you do. And so it's a hard sell for us. Because humans, they've done a number on you. You don't expect it to be easy because you've been digging swimming pools with teaspoons for so long that that's your orientation. And so when someone says, oh no, there's a better way, you say, well, I haven't seen it. You'll have to show that to me before I believe that. Well, with swimming pools, you believe it because you've seen it. But that's not a good criteria. We want so much for you to not need to see something before you believe it. That's what's slowing you down. If you will believe it, then you will see it. But if you need to see it before you believe it, then you get all confused because there's so much to see and everybody's got a different spin on what they did and everybody's got their own axe to grind. You've got to be your own self-advocate and you've got to be your own case study. You got to show yourself what this emotion yields for you and what this emotion yields for you and what this thought brings what emotion and what that thought brings what emotion. You got to be your own case study. You got to show yourself what alignment feels like and what misalignment feels like, what calibrating to the power of source energy feels like, and what calibrating against it under the influence of something else feels like.
It sounds a little like dieting, you know?
Like what?
Like dieting. Like people, I don't know if this is a good one, but...
It's not really.
I mean, so as you eat what feels better for you, truly feels better, more nourishing, things you know are more nourishing for you, and you don't eat way too much, then you feel better and
You've really got to get into alignment with who you are before you can begin to confront some of these larger conversations like dieting or like money or like God or like love. It's important that you calibrate yourself, but once you do, then everything becomes clearer and easier for you to see. You didn't come to struggle. You came to enjoy the attraction that your focus accomplishes. Enough?
Yes, beautiful. Thank you so
Very
much.
good conversation. Really good.